Good to talk to you again.
Yeah. How you been?
I've been well, yeah. We spoke 4 years ago on the last album cycle. Um, New one out these days. How's that one going?
It's been a blast to play live. It seems like people are really receptive to the new stuff, and even like on our first few, like on the first tour we did on the new stuff, there were people who already knew the lyrics and stuff and were singing along, and that was, that's always a great feeling, especially so soon after the album was released.
That must be a good feeling when people like get into it straight after the album was released. Excuse me for being distracted here. I'm just getting things sorted out.
That's all right. Technology, that's how it goes.
Oh, mate. Um, you might see this moving in the background. I've got a fan
Yeah.
on. It's pretty hot out here in my office. It's summertime here. It's swimming pool weather, so that's
Oh.
that explains that.
That sounds very nice right now. It's pretty cold here. The weather here's been crazy because it's been every other day. It's been dry. I mean, it's been either like hot and humid or cold, and it switches every day. So
Yeah,
I've got like kind of a cold because the
yeah,
weather's been
yeah.
crazy.
It really messes with your body when it's up and down like that. That's why people get sick all the time.
Yeah.
Right, the album. I was having another listen to it last night. It's pretty deep and dark. Is that a good way of describing it?
Sure, yeah.
Where did that come from?
Well, unfortunately, it's all drawn from life experience. So, but it'd be nice to just write a real happy album. I think need to be going a little better for that. But no. Yeah, it's all just kind of drawn from things that had been happening at the time when the songs were being formed, which was like 5 years ago now.
Yeah.
So, but it was stuff that was, kind of on our minds at the time. So, yeah, it's just drawn from life experience.
Do you have people coming up to you saying that a certain song connected with you in a certain way? And if so, is it a different age group thing?
Yeah, I mean, people do come up and say that songs connected with them. Um, and yeah, I guess I'd say it's people of different ages. It's been interesting over the last couple of years since we've gotten back to touring because we inadvertently took like a pretty long break from touring because of we had taken essentially a year off and then the pandemic happened. So we basically didn't tour for like 3 years, which is forever as for a band, 3 years
Yeah.
is a long time. And since we've been back on the road again, there's people coming up to me and being like, I've been listening to your music since I was a kid. I'm just like, a kid? How can you be like you're like an adult? I'm like, surely I'm not. Surely I'm not old. Fuck. I guess I am. We're getting that way. Getting older. I guess we've been a band a long time now. So yeah, it's interesting. For the longest time, most of the people that would come up to me are, around my age or older. And now there's people who are coming up who've been Pallbearer fans since they were actual kids. So and they're adults now. So that's kind of an interesting feeling.
Any people bringing their kids to pallbearer shows?
Oh yeah. Sometimes.
That's always
Real,
good to
really
see.
little kid. Yes, as long as they got hearing protection, because
Yes,
it's a good way to blow out a little kid's ears very
yes.
young.
We see a lot of kids at gigs here with headphones on, and security will let them stand them on the front of the
The
barrier. So
barrier.
that's
Yeah,
always good.
it's fun to
With
see.
taking a year off and then getting back into it, was it hard to sort of get back into it? Did you forget?
Um, at first it felt kind of intimidating because I had stayed, I hadn't had a whole lot of social interaction
Yeah,
between 2020 and 2021. It's just like, what was there to do?
yeah,
So, I mean, I think it was that way for a lot of people post-pandemic, just getting back and
yeah.
socializing was strange. I felt like my social skills had definitely depreciated, and my desire to be sociable had depreciated. But I think once we actually got back out on in the van again, and it just was like riding a bike, you
Yeah.
immediately back into the routine and just the feeling of tour. So
Mm.
yeah, it's great to be back though, and we've been touring a lot in the last like 3 years, so it's nice.
I got to say, I did enjoy the period in time when you went, you were in the supermarket and you came round the end of the aisle to go to a new aisle, and everyone just fucking scattered. I
I
quite
know.
enjoyed that.
I loved it. Everyone was like, "Oh, the pandemic was the worst time of my life." I'm like, I loved everything about it, except for the people dying, in large quantities.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I mean, uh, but the solitude was very welcome,
Mm.
honestly. Like not having any pressure to do stuff. There's no FOMO because there's nothing to miss out on. Yeah, it was great. I
So,
lived at the time next to a pretty busy road, and so there's always cars just driving by, and you can hear them. But during the pandemic, it was just like perfectly
yeah,
silent. I
yeah.
loved it.
Getting back in the van, as you put it, how has touring been? You mentioned, the set lists and people enjoying the new songs and all that, but getting back into the touring life, as it were, how has it been for you?
It's been pretty good. I mean, we were very experienced at tour before, and if anything, it's been easier. I think there are some factors that have made it like just being in a band more complicated post-pandemic because of just systemic changes. Like, for example, Live Nation bought up a ton of the independent venues in the US, and that's a mixed bag to say the least. And there's higher costs involved just with everything. So, and because of a number of economic factors, it's harder to pack a room. I think just there's our shows have been doing decently well, but like people are a lot more uh, you know, concerned with where their money goes because
Mm,
money's
yeah,
tight for a lot of people.
yeah,
And that's
absolutely.
completely understandable. There's a lot of shows that I would like to go to and don't go to because I'm like, when you pay for the ticket, get an Uber, get a few drinks, maybe get a shirt or something, I'm just like, I'll just stay home, which sucks. I shouldn't be saying that. I'm trying to promote myself, but I get it. What I'm saying is I get it. But I'm saying it's more complicated, nowadays. But we're a little older and a little wiser too. So the actual physical aspect of being on the road, I think, is easier than it was before because we're not getting, we don't party quite as hard as we used to. We still do it, but we eat a little better and take a little bit better care of ourselves.
Oh, yeah, I hear you. Was there a log jam after pandemic? More bands trying to fit into less venues? Did you notice that?
For sure. Yeah. Yeah. Um, our first European tour after the pandemic in 2022 with Elder, um, it was it was a solid tour, but we were talking to promoters all over Europe, and they were having to cancel tours altogether. A lot of they were canceling shows, and then tours were also getting canceled because of lack of sales, because people were afraid to go out to shows still in 2022, and and people were worried about, I guess, energy for that coming winter because of the Russian Ukraine conflict at the time. So there was a lot of fi still financial insecurity. That's kind of the name of the game apparently in the 2020s. Uh, but the yeah, but we were lucky enough that we didn't have to cancel shows or cancel tour, and we're still getting good crowds. So we've been fortunate in that regard that we have still been able to draw enough of a crowd to keep touring, So because I don't take any of that for granted.
Hmm. How's the band going with the whole merch thing? With the bands I've spoken to, like especially in Was it especially in Europe? I don't know. But venues taking a cut of merch and bootleg merch being able to be sold, but them not being able to sell the band's merch. Has that affected Paul Bearer in any way?
The bootleg merch thing is like an Italy thing, but I don't think that's
Right.
happened to us. Uh,
Maybe that where maybe
at
that's where
least
the
not
term
recently.
maybe that's where the term merch mafia came in. I did hear that.
I mean, that's literally what it is. Um, we've been lucky enough to not have that happen. Um, but yeah, I mean, merch is the name of the game. If you don't sell merch, then you're not really going to be able to
Hmm.
financially succeed on tour, like, or just you want to make money, you want to at least break even, but ideally, if you're doing this professionally, you want to also make money and pay your crew. I mean, like the thing is, like to get paid, for us to get paid, we're the last people to get paid.
Yeah.
We got to
Yeah.
pay for transportation, we got to pay for a crew, we got to, pay merch cuts sometimes, which is the biggest bullshit in the music industry, period, is merch cuts. That's actual thievery.
Hmm.
We don't take a cut of the bar, so why do they take a cut of our
No,
merch?
exactly right.
Um, yeah, I don't understand how that's considered acceptable anywhere.
Let's take you right back. You're a kid now. What was your gateway drug into metal?
And weirdly enough, I didn't get into metal until I was a teenager.
Mm-hmm.
I my parents didn't hardly even listen to rock music, and when I was in like maybe seventh grade or something, sixth or seventh grade, I got into uh like System of a Down, that sort of stuff. It's like sort of metal, but like, you know, for a kid, metal enough for a kid. Um and I just hadn't heard anything. That's what my friends were listening to. They're still a solid band. I'm not talking shit on System of a Down, but you know, I that and then like Nirvana. And then once I started playing guitar, then I got really bored with simpler stuff very quickly and started exploring like metal and prog rock and stuff that had more of a technical side to it. And that just led me down a huge rabbit hole that I'm still falling into today. But yeah, it was like kind of the usual suspects, Metallica, and I think my friend burned me a CD that had Master of Reality and maybe Volume 4 on it. I think that's what it was. But
Volume
yeah, couple of Sabbath albums on it.
Volume
So
Four,
that
the album.
yeah, it's
It's one
probably
of
my
the first.
favorite.
That's one of the first Sabbath ones I heard, actually.
It's hard to beat.
Yeah, probably my favourite one with Ozzy would be Sabbath Bloody Sabbath.
Oh, I think that's the one. I think it was Master of Reality and Sabbath Bloody Sabbath that
Yeah,
was on the CD. I didn't hear Volume 4 till later. But yeah, that's a great introduction to the band. I mean, I had heard like Iron Man and stuff, but it was a lot deeper.
yeah, you got to go a lot deeper. Right, coming out to Australia very soon. What can we expect?
Um, we are gonna play, well, since we haven't been there in like 8 or 9 years or something, it's been a hell of a while. Uh, we're gonna try to play a pretty diverse set. I know a lot of people haven't heard I mean, obviously haven't heard our newer material live because we haven't been there to play it. But we're going to play some old stuff too for older fans and people who might have gotten into the band in the last 8 years who want to see some older songs too. So yeah, we're going to try to keep it pretty diverse. And then of course Conan is playing with us, and so I'm sure they're going to rumble some guts. I've never seen them, so I'm pretty stoked about that.
Hang on, well, fucking hell, look at that. You notice how dark it got when I changed the page on the computer from a black page to a white page to a
Oh
black.
yeah.
Hang on, let me change this. Hang on. Oh, we'll be fucking way too bright. There we go. That's better. I'll edit that bit out.
Yeah.
With touring way over here, this is obviously a flight tour.
Mhm.
How are you off with flying tours? Do they really take it out of you? Are they that different on the body?
It sucks. It sucks. Well, the from so I live in like pretty much central part of the US. So in order for if we were to just fly directly from where we live in Arkansas, we have to go to Dallas and then LA and then to Australia. So it's like 30 hours of travel time, which is just fucked. Um, but what we're doing for this is we're touring out to the West Coast. So we're going to take like 2 weeks and just play shows out to California, then fly to Australia. So it's still only, I mean, it's still like a 15-hour flight, but
We're a long
and
way
then
away.
and then we've got to fly between every show. So the first time we played Australia, that's the way we did it, and there were no days off between the shows, and I think we slept like maybe like 10 hours in a week. Because you know, by the time you pack up and leave a show and
Hmm.
maybe party a little bit, uh, you know, it's 3, 4 in the morning, and then you have to be on the flight at like you have to get up to go get on the flight at like 6. So if you're lucky, you're getting 2 hours of sleep. So, and then the second time we played, we had some days off. We're resting and stuff, but this time it's back to back again. So I'm
Yeah.
just like
Yeah. Are you getting
gonna
in a
try to
day
keep
or
it
two
together.
early and leaving a day or two late, or is it just in, show, gone?
I mean, I can't remember. I'm hoping we have at least a day to get rid of the jet lag. That's
Uh,
fucked.
Afterwards, are you doing like Japan or something like that, or are you just going back home?
No, we couldn't get any shows in Japan. We were trying to, it just didn't work out. But we're gonna play. We're playing New Zealand.
Oh, good.
We played Japan years ago, and it was awesome. I'd like to go back. Uh, Maybe we can do it next year or something. Who knows?
Oh, it's good our friends in New Zealand get a show or two.
Yeah, we played there once before, and it was great.
Thank you so much.
You bet, man.
Have a
Oh,
good time until you get down here. Take it easy on the body because the flight's going to knock you. And we'll see you soon. Can't wait.
all right, all right. I'm looking forward to it. See ya.
Thanks, man. Catch you. Bye.